Yeah. Let me turn that shit down. Where my control at? I gotta turn my TV down because I don't want to get a motherfucking strike. Ah, damn it. What's up, y'all? Hold on 1 second. Rocky, you sit on the control? Where in the hell is the goddamn control, Rocky? Oh, here it is. I thought it was under your ass. Yeah. Rocky right here. Rocky like, I ain't doing shit. I wasn't gonna do it live today, but hold on, I'm gonna sit this here while I roll my shit up. I wasn't gonna do it live today, but I'm over here watching this. I'm looking at my Facebook page, and I'm seeing a lot of people tweet and go write a post on Facebook about Shedeur Sanders and is this, are they targeting Deion Sanders? Is this, are they trying to pay Deion back? Is this racially coded? Yada 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 yada. I'm gonna start off by saying this. I don't give a fuck about none of this shit when it comes to football. The football owner told everybody what time it is back during the pandemic 2020 when they said we ain't gonna change the rules, but you niggas better still stand or we gonna beat your ass. So the NFL I respect because they were very clear about where they stand when it comes to this. So I'm less tolerant to black people crying about racism in the NFL. I'm less tolerant to it. Like, and I don't have any like. I gotta respect people who watch. I gotta respect people who play. Just know what it is because they made it very clear who they are, and they made it very clear they're not changing. So I'm gonna start off by saying that. I'm also gonna start off by saying, with this whole situation, most black people, like Neely Fuller said, are very, 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 not just black people, Americans, people across the world actually, citizens of the world are very, very, very clueless as to what racism is. It's a system of confusion that very few people understand. So I'm just talking about what I've observed so far, then we'll break it down. On my timeline, I've just been seeing a lot of back and forth. And I'm also going to start off by saying, I've only seen a handful of Shedeur Sanders plays. I don't watch college football like that. I don't watch NFL like that. I'll tune in sometimes, but I don't give a shit about football. Not like I used to. So today's discussion isn't necessarily going to be about how good Shedeur is. It's not going to be about that. It's going to be about the system that we live in that so many of us are confused about. What is racism? Are we seeing race? Are we seeing this? Is this racism targeted towards his dad? Is it not about race at all? I saw people saying, hey, it was X amount of black people taken in the first round. What do you mean it's about race? The whole NFL draft is black. It can't be about race. And those people have a valid point too. So what we're going to do today is we're going to break down what is racial, what does it look like, and why is everybody confused, and why it matters. Because that's the big one right there. Anything you do, you got to be trying to figure out why it matters. What's up, Tierra Dynamite? I ain't been looking at the chat yet. I'm going to get to the chat in a second. I just looked up and saw T's. What's up, Tierra Dynamite? We were just talking on Facebook about this, me and Tierra. Or either on Facebook or Instagram. And some of the bullshit that she saw. And we both seen a lot of bullshit. So Let's break down the bullshit. Let's break down the bullshit. Hold on. Close this window. Actually, I don't need to close this window. Okay. Alright. I'm just setting my shit up right now. Now, I gotta. Let me see here. I gotta get some of that Babcock winery right there. Gotta get some of that. But yeah, so thank y'all for joining. Thank y'all for joining. And we about to get it started in 1 second. Hit the like button on the way in. Make sure if you leave early, come back, circle back, and leave a comment after the video. Go to the Wine Beef for your t-shirts. Reza has an event next Friday and Saturday in Compton. The events are free, reproductive health, and also if you want to know more about what went on with that jab situation, it's an event next weekend, and I will be doing some stand-up at the event. You dig? So, so let's first off start off about what the big fuss is when it comes to this whole situation with Shedeur Sanders. Let's start off talking about that situation. What is racism? What is it? Well, let's talk about why, from my point of view, I'm seeing a racial undertone to it. What I'm saying from my point of view is, even though I don't watch football closely, I still watch from afar. They've had a bug in their ass about Deion Sanders since, and you youngers, I'm about to give y'all a history lesson. Deion Sanders has bugged white supremacists since his college years, how flashy he was. In particular, it was a game when he played football and baseball. There was a game that he had for the Atlanta Falcons and the Atlanta Braves in the same day. And he took a helicopter from one game to the other. Ever since then, old white men have had a bug in their ass about Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders has a very constructive family. He's been constructive. He's by just based off what we see. I don't like to jump to conclusions based on what I see, because I've seen athletes who look good in front of the goddamn camera who ain't shit as parents. So athletes and actors, so and regular people. So I don't base it off what I see on TV. But based on what I see on TV, he's been a very good father. You know, his children are well adjusted. So that can rub a lot of people the wrong way. And there's a such thing called children paying for the sins of their fathers. That's a real thing. Children paying for the sins of fathers is a real thing. And in America, your skin is your sin. So that right there, being a black father, that's right, T Dynamite, with confident, successful children, that's a strike. That's why they didn't like LeVar Ball. That's why they didn't like T Morant. They like them to either shut the hell up or not. If they have a father, have a quiet, cooning father like Earl Woods. No disrespect to Earl Woods, rest in peace. Or don't have a father. If a black child has and I saw this when I coached AAU basketball. When it got to some of those club teams, when you had a father in the home and they couldn't necessarily go directly to the mother to manipulate, that was like somewhat of a strike. I remember there was one player I was with one of these players back in the day, coming out of college. I was helping him select an agent. and he went the year after Danny. I think Danny Granger was drafted in '06, '05, and this dude was drafted like whatever it was. He was drafted the year after Danny Granger, and I remember Danny Granger was a player that had really good, who could really hoop. But his draft stock, he wasn't really ranked as high as he should have been. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that Danny Granger's father didn't put him, from what I put together, through the regular AAU system and mapped out his own course through it. And in some ways, Danny Granger had to pay. You know, Kyrie Irving, he's had to pay for his. He was just too goddamn good to get taken anything other than number one. But you've seen Stephen A. Smith, you've seen Shannon Sharp, you've seen these guys go at Kyrie Irving for his father's presence. God damn, Rocky. Shit. This nigga just let a bomb go. You see his little asses right here. Rocky, you motherfucker. God damn. I'm gonna light this weed so it smell better. Where I light her at? Ugh. Nigga. Ugh. These dogs get, God damn. Ooh, that, ooh. Gotta make like that weed bring some, this motherfucker just gonna fart and keep sleeping. Like ain't nothing happened. And your ears is up, nigga, so I know you awake. He got them ears up, so I know you awake. Dirty motherfucker. Anyway, let's get back to it. Let's get back to it. Let's get back to it. So we see confident fathers with confident children having to pay. And so from that point of view, I can see people calling it racist because you feel it. From the other point of view, you got people out there saying, well, look, most of the players drafted in the first 2 rounds were black. So how can it be racism? No way it could be racist if all of these other black kids are getting drafted first. I mean, two. And to that I say, those people have a point too. So first, I want to talk about what is racist? What is racism? Make sure y'all hit the like button. 130 people in here, 50 likes. Hit the like button. We got to be very clear on what racism is. Needy Fuller just passed away this year, and I think that a lot of people, if you've never heard of Needy Fuller Jr., you need to learn him and find out who he is and get into Needy Fuller Jr. Needy Fuller Jr. broke down what racism is. It's a system. It's a system of white supremacy. A system of white supremacy. What is that? White supremacy means that the group classified as white can do whatever they want to groups classified as non-white without repercussions and without the groups classified as non-white getting retribution on the groups classified as white. And those who don't understand that, everything else they think they understand is going to confuse them. And so since people don't see it as a system, most people most people think racism is the Klan marching on your front lawn, burning a cross. They think it's being called the N word. Most people think racism is always a white man taking from a black man, and black folks just crying and complaining about this and that. That's what people think racism is. And that's not what it is. Again, it's a system. Let me see, hit that. There we go. There we go. So let's break down racism even a little bit more. What's racist about how the NFL works is this: the best players are black, and the same thing with the NBA. So, in order to have a product that people like and watch, these racist people know that they need us there. If not, if we're not there, black Americans aren't there, baseball and basketball is going to go the way of football and basketball is going to go the way of baseball and the way of prize fighting with no black fighters to fight against. The biggest boxing matches are always a black person involved, either two black people or a Mexican versus a black, an Irish versus a black. Everybody want to see the black. Ain't nobody gave a fuck about the heavyweight division since Deontay Wilder got his ass knocked out the last time. No, you ever notice that? And I love Deontay Wilder, one of my favorite fighters of all time. Even niggas, even especially black people, they ain't said nothing when Tyson Fury got mollywopped. But when Deontay Wilder lost, see man, I told you he wasn't shit. Nigga, what? The last heavyweight fight you saw was Mike Tyson versus Lennox Lewis, nigga. You ain't even seen this nigga fight. But you'll see niggas be the first one. See? Yeah, nigga. Yeah. Black people tend to be the most confused about racism. We tend to be the most confused. And so the system understands that if it wants viewership and if it wants money, they need us. Look what happened. I told y'all before on my show here. Look at what happened with baseball. Baseball X'd out the black American. And look at what happened. ESPN did not renew its contract with Major League Baseball for $500 million. All baseball wanted was $500 million a season. ESPN just gave the NBA $2.9 billion a season for half the games, half the size of the arena. Baseball arenas are 40,000, basketball arenas are 18,000. Baseball plays 162 games, basketball plays 82. And with that being said, ESPN gave basketball basically $3 billion a year, and it told baseball, we're not going to give you $500,000. And that's with all the Asian invasion with Ashanti and all these other players and these $800 million contracts. The reason why baseball gets paid more is because they get a higher split of the collective bargaining agreement. And white supremacy is understanding that dynamic, they understand that the dynamic needs to exist. So, yeah, they got rid of and they're trying to do it right now with basketball. They're trying to bring all these Nigerians and Africans into basketball, and they can do that. That's fine. Basketball will just go the same way as baseball. It'll still be a profitable, viable sport, but it won't be cracking like it is now. Well, look, NBA's already gotten a 50% reduction in viewership over the last 10 years. So that's the dynamic. My point is for you to shut the fuck up and keep listening, or get the hell out of here if you ain't got the patience, you dumb fuck. So back to what I'm saying. So that's what they understand they need us. But in needing us, they cannot allow black Americans to be too free. They can't allow us to be loose and free. Remember when the NFL was had no dancing and everything in the end zone and no celebrations? When did they bring the celebrations back? When black people decided that George Floyd was more important than football? Then all of a sudden the NFL said, hey, we were just playing about that. Go ahead and dance around, you fucking watermelon eating jigaboos. And niggas was like, okay. And then Jay-Z said, we're done kneeling. And motherfuckers was like, okay, we're back. And now y'all back to now coming full circle. Y'all crying racism. Nigga, they told you what it was in 2019, you fucking jigaboos. So part of my point is, if you mad about what's going on with Shedeur, that's your own fucking problem. If somebody tells you that if you shake their hand, they gonna cut your wrist, and you go to shake their hand and they cut your wrist, you the motherfucking fool, nigga. I ain't mad about none of this shit, because the NFL, I respect the NFL for telling me exactly who they are. I respect them for that. I don't want them to change. I don't want the NFL to change shit. They be who the fuck you are. I ain't got. I don't want nobody to change, honestly, unless you want to change. You cannot want something to change more than it wants to change within itself. And black people had a chance to force change, but they decided that watching the sport was more important, and that's fine too. I don't have an issue with that. Just be cool with what you got. Shut the fuck up and watch. That's all I say to that. Don't cry. They told you exactly who they are. So, yeah, Rocky, you farting motherfucker. Um, but so the NFL is, and the NBA, they have to still manage the egos, because in order for white supremacy to exist, like, you don't understand, like, a lot of black people don't understand how extremely important it is for people who have a white supremacist ideology, and that's most of your NFL fans and NBA fans. They must see us as depraved, depressed, dilapidated, disenchanted, and any fucking D words you can come with. Disgruntled, disenchanted, dilapidated, degraded, depressed, degraded. That's the state this system operates in. So although, see, for a long time, 100 years ago, before Jesse Owens, they just wouldn't let us put us out there, you know? Yeah, downtrodden. Before, back in 100 years ago, they would just say, hey, the black person's inferior. Then, between Jack Johnson and Jesse Owens, they proved that wrong. But they said to have a side Negro league. They didn't want us on the field at all. But once white Americans, it's something spiritual about greatness. No matter how racist a person may feel, Everybody respects greatness. Everybody. That's why it's as racist and homogenous as the country of China is. They loved Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant's a god in China. So is Stephon Marbury. For what he did. No matter how groups of people feel about groups of people, everybody loves and respects greatness. So the original plan was just to not let our greatness on the field. But once they got a taste of our greatness, even the most staunch, hardcore white supremacists wants a part and a piece of that greatness. Because the white supremacists is an ideology. We're all still human. And humans respect greatness no matter what the fuck race they are. No matter how they feel about it. So you gotta give them that. But at the same time, how white supremacy works in their minds, and study the ISIS paper by Dr. Welsing, she talks about the mind. It's it puts them at a crossroads. I gotta see this, but I still can't see you winning. I can let one guy be great. That's why the whole Michael. That's why in basketball they have the Michael Jordan LeBron thing. They're not going to allow multiple niggas to be great. It's not like baseball. Baseball, I remember back in the day, the Arizona Diamondbacks, when they won the World Series. Kurt Schilling got to be great, and Randy Johnson got to be great. And the reason why that stood out to me because the Arizona Diamondbacks, they won the same time my Lakers was winning. But they used to always, during the Shaq and Kobe years, all the media would always talk shit about, oh, Shaq, Kobe, ooh, this one or that one or this one. And then when I would watch baseball, they wouldn't say Randy Johnson or Kurt Schilling. They was like, oh, look at Kurt. And he gets to be great on his day. And Randy Johnson got to be great on his day. When I was watching football at the time, that was Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. That was that era. Look at these two young quarterbacks. Tom Brady, even though they would go kind of compare them, they never compared Tom Brady and Peyton Manning in ways that made one great, one marginal. Do you pay attention? Sports fans, are you paying attention? Sports fans, are you paying attention? No, they're not can only be one best. That's how stupid people think. Or I should say Europeans think. That's their thinking. There can only be one champion, but there cannot be one best. And the champion changes every year. So yeah, there can only be one champion, but no, cannot be one best. Greatness is like the Marvel universe. Listen to me, people. Greatness is like your favorite comic books, your favorite heroes. Superman is great because he can fly. Batman is great because of his gadgets. Thanos is great because of that stupid ass glove that he got. Cyclops is great because of his eyes. Wolverine is great. Everybody gets to be great. And I just had to start getting into the comic book movies as an adult. I always thought comic books was corny. But when I started to understand the spiritual principles behind comic books, the DC universe showing you how the darkness works, the Marvel universe showing you how the light works, and you can understand how light and dark works through Marvel universe and DC comics. That's why they both are always going to exist. DC is going to show you the dark side. Um, but greatness is stupid to compare Kobe to LeBron because their games are completely different. You're right. They made Dan Marino just as good as Montana. They said now Montana was the greater one because he had 4 Super Bowls and Dan Marino had none. But they never made Dan Marino look bad for not having any Super Bowls. It was always, oh, he was just such a great quarterback. He just never got quite the help that he needed. And then when John Elway got Terrell Davis to help him out, now they want to act like Terrell Davis didn't exist. Oh, it's just Elway. Nah, nigga, that was Terrell Davis, nigga. All the white boys get to be great. Black men, it can only be one. So how they do it in football, they overemphasize the importance of the quarterback and they minimize the other positions. That way they could always talk about Tom Brady and the white boys are the ones at the top. And they act like the defensive positions don't exist. Unless they're bringing up Dick Buckets or Bill Romanowski. What if I said the NFL owners are on code working together to block store? This is what black folks should done with hip hop. You gotta understand. I appreciate the super chat, but you gotta understand this. It's only 32 NFL owners, and there's 40 million black people. You're not gonna get 40 million people on code as quickly as you'll get 32 owners that are approved and vetted, and they're on code before they put that deposit down to buy that team. Gotta remember that part too. So, but thanks for the super chat. That's it. But I still appreciate the comment. But you say you just had Terrell Davis convo, yeah. So I'm building to a bigger point here that this is how racism works. You got to have these niggas because they exciting. But when you get these ones that are too brash, that stick their chest out too much, they have to be publicly flogged and humiliated at every turn. A black athlete can never, unless you're the approved one or two, outside of that, they'll let one. It's the Judas Goats and thing. Let's make one real fat and put him out there and showcase him, make it seem as if this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. It's how you get people to look at, to all be led to slaughter, to all be basically fooled and deceived. Let's overinflate one, and LeBron James has held that since Kobe decided to go up in that white gal. See, when Kobe decided to have that, the reason why Kobe Bryant is not the greatest player of all time is because he went up in that white girl. The reason why Magic's not discussed because he got AIDS and said, "Hey, I had too many women." The reason why Kareem is not the greatest of all time is because he didn't give a fuck about white people. He was real mean to white people till about 10 years ago. And the reason Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time is because he signed that deal with Nike. The Nike basically is the number one marketer of the NBA. And that deal was signed, and Michael Jordan shut the fuck up, won his championships, and allowed his game to be the model of shoes. Now, tennis shoes or sneakers are the most sold shoes in America. When before Michael Jordan and Bo Jackson in that Nike campaign, people wore they didn't wear sneakers. Sneakers was the only thing people wore. They called them tennis shoes. People only wore them to play tennis and basketball, and they went and wore other kind of shoes until they changed the rules up. They softened the game for Michael Jordan, made sure everybody else got fucked up when they went to the lane. But if you sneeze on this bald head nigga, it's a foul. We got some shoes to sell. And we're gonna elevate him. And all these niggas now that are 50 years old, 45, Michael Jordan's gonna remind them niggas of when they had a flat top and their hair wasn't thin. It's gonna remind all these niggas of when they wasn't on child support. And they're gonna defend this nigga till death. And I thought them Jordan fans was the worst. Until these LeBron fans came. And they got you niggas even worse. That LeBron James's first commercial was in a church with him passing basketballs and the choir singing. And they turned that nigga LeBron into a religion. And niggas will watch football. They will ignore Sandra Bland. They will not give a fuck about their kids getting put in special ed. But say anything other than LeBron James is the greatest of all time, them niggas will be ready to fight. It works. It gave them niggas a Barbie doll. And they didn't even feel insulted. That's the crazy part about it. Bronzosexuals weren't even insulted. Like, if you gave me a Kobe Barbie, I'd have been like, bitch, who the fuck you think I am, nigga? I remember Kobe took some zesty-ass photos in like some white garb when he was alive and when he played. And me and my homeboy, we the biggest Kobe fans on earth. We was like, man, this nigga look gay as hell. What the fuck was you thinking, Kobe? These photos look weird. But they create a religion out of one nigga and they use that to shit on everybody else. You see how it works, people? James Harden is one of the greatest things we've ever seen. Most unassisted threes of all time. Me and my homeboy I used to hoop with back in the day when I hooped. And I'm tired of you niggas talking about something. Duane, you didn't know how to hoop, nigga. I would have beat all you niggas up asses in basketball at 325 pounds when I was 25 years old. I gave 2 knees to sports, nigga. I gave a meniscus to football and I gave a patella tendon to basketball. I don't ever talk about my injuries in my old days of playing because it's fucking corny. But I was out with a friend just recently, and one of the assistant coaches for the 76ers came by the table, and they knew me. They're like, you know DeJuan? Like, yeah, nigga, I was in them hooping streets. I just don't talk about it like that no more. 99% of you niggas would have had an issue with me. But we was talking, and appreciate that, BB Rodriguez. But we was talking about James Harden. That size step back that he has didn't exist when I hooped. Like what Steph and James Harden doing, I tell people all the time, like Steph, man, I just would have had to beat his ass. Cause in my hooping days, a nigga that could shoot that good couldn't get to the cup, and a nigga that can get to the cup couldn't shoot that good. This generation came in doing both equally as great. But when you watch James Harden's game, and when he dribbles back and forth, and what he's doing is he's looking at the person's center of gravity. Just watch James Harden play these playoffs. He's on dribble back and forth, and he's a step slower now. He's not the James Harden of 8 years ago. And all he's doing is the minute your center mass, your center of gravity tilts, or he gets you to turn your hips slightly, the minute he's rocking you and the minute your hips turn, he's boom the other way. And then once he gets there, first step, he's getting shoulder to shoulder with you. And he's strong. He doesn't have LeBron's athleticism or height. So he's not going to he can't do like LeBron could do and just jump over you. So he gets his body to you, then he leans his body into, and he brings the ball out. Like that's the Robert Horry move. And every foul is fucking legit. They had to change the rules to stop James Harden. But you don't get people that can truly appreciate James Harden's game because y'all have allowed Skip Bayless, Stephen A. Smith, and it's these sports games, these sports gossip shows, these debate shows, they basically shit on everybody who's not LeBron James. And not just the debate shows, the TV announcers. They compare everybody to Jordan. That whole T-Mac, Sean Marion, Vince Carter, Kobe, Iverson, Stephon Marbury generation never got fair coverage. Every time somebody did something halfway good, oh, they look like Michael Jordan. I mean, bro, I was like, nigga, Michael Jordan been retired for 10 years now. Nigga, can we get an Eddie Jones reference? Can we get a motherfucking Nick Van Exel reference? Can we get a Grant Hill reference? It was a lot of great players in the 90s. Can we get a Reggie Miller reference? Can we get a Patrick Ewing reference? Everything was a Jordan reference. I remember watching the game on ABC, and Manu Ginobili, first off, Manu Ginobili was European and he was left-handed. Game was nothing like Michael Jordan, but Manu Ginobili, you knew when he put the ball on the ground, no matter what he did, he was always going to come back left. So he did a nice baseline move, but he had to go back left. So he did a spin move baseline and then laid it up. And Mike Breen was like, oh, that was Jordan-esque. No, it wasn't. As a matter of fact, he looked like Sharunas Marciulionis. But Sharunas Marciulionis was a bad motherfucker for the Golden State Warriors back in '93, if you know your basketball. That would have been a perfect time to reference for him to reference God Shem God. God Shem God would have done the same thing. They could have referenced God Shem God. They could have referenced Sharonis Marshallonis if they wanted to keep it white. They could have referenced Tiny Nate Archibald with some of the shit that he did. But no, they had to take it back to Jordan. Propaganda, propaganda, propaganda. This is how white supremacy works. And I'm saying this to all the black people, and this is for the people out there who will say it's not racist because look at LeBron James and his entitlement. And LeBron is very entitled. It's not racist because how do you get Michael Jordan? I'm telling you, they have to give you one. Because if they suppressed all the niggas, the system wouldn't work. One, maybe two. And number two is Steph Curry. Steph Curry, a little light skinned, and you see, he was raised. He got a white mom, father in the NBA, raising raised on the other side of town. It's fair to say that Steph Curry don't think the way me and you think, and I'm not casting any aspersions on him, but he did stand behind that. He didn't cringe when he saw that. What was that cartoon he did a couple years ago? I understand the actors doing it because the actors need money, but Steph Curry got $1 trillion in the bank. What was that? What was that? What was that movie? Oh yeah, his mom is a half and half. She is. She is. Good times. The good times we make. Steph Curry got $1 trillion. He didn't have to back that good times. For him to still back that good times, it tells you a little bit about where he is. And that's fine. That's fine. But it shows you why. And he's a great fucking player. Like, Steph Curry earned all of his attention. But put it like this. Just based on what I see and observe from a distance, I seriously doubt Steph Curry would ever watch more than 16 seconds of anything that I'm talking about. Just put it like that. He seems like the kind that'll be like, he's hating on Drake. He just seems like that kind of dude. Now I want to see the Lil Kev. I got some friends on Lil Kev. I haven't seen it. Slink is on it. Jamar Neighbors is on it. I got a Tyree Lane. Those are people I know personally. They all on it, but I haven't seen it yet. Some Nandi. But somebody said, "Would you personally hire?" Why would you ask me what would I personally do? It's not about what I would personally do. I don't own an NFL team. And look, let me tell y'all something. If you ever want a fair observation of anything in life, and it's for everybody. If you ever want to see observe something fairly, you gotta step outside your box. You can never you can never assess anything outside of you fairly by saying what I would do. Once you say what you would do, you done missed the whole point. Because you're not in that situation. What you would do has nothing to do with anything going on outside of you. That's just ego talk. All right. So I don't ever, that's just for y'all to know. I don't ever, like, if I ever say what I would do, if when I talk to y'all about what I would do, I would come out and tell you, now this is what I would do. But how often do I say that to y'all? I pull myself out. It's not about what I would do. I will never own an NFL team. Even I could have $50 billion in my bank account right now. I can promise you I'll never own an NFL team. The good old boys would look at two of my tweets and say, nope, next nigga. Okay? That goes back to you guys understanding Needy Fuller and what white supremacy is and how it operates. But Shedeur is a very marketable person. He's very marketable. And so if it was me, would I do? Would I hire him? Yes, I would hire him because I know I can make money off of him. Yes. But it's not about what I would do. I'm talking about the system and how it works. So the system can only allow a select two hand puppets to get to sort of get to operate with lawlessness. Meaning lawlessness, I mean free to operate. Yeah, Iverson. Look at the NFL, NBA is stupid. NFL, NBA killed itself. It stayed on that Jordan shit, and it got the NBA got gifted Allen Iverson. They didn't have, see Jordan had to go to grooming school. They had to change that nigga's accent. They had to teach him how to dress. It they took years to really put Michael Jordan together. And those of you who've been watching this channel for a while, I broke that down plenty of times about how Michael Jordan was created in a lab. Not his game, but his persona. It was literally created in a lab. And they spent a lot of money on refining Michael Jordan and making these come fly with me videos and stuff to propagandize you niggas. But Iverson, they didn't have to do none of that. Iverson was a gift. Iverson just had that star power and he had the game to go along with it. But David Stern understood this. 1997, 98, my generation, I was in high school. Jordan was cool, but we was like, man, what about Iverson though? When Iverson crossed up Jordan, my generation, see the Michael Jordan propaganda, it was real heavy at the time, but it's always different 20, 25 years later. Let's take you back to 96 when Iverson mixed up Jordan and had Jordan going, ha! Nigga, I was 10th grade, Westchester High School, playing basketball. And what's the first thing we did when we got in the gym? Niggas, you see that last night? Everybody, hey, no, say, hey, no, get back. We playing 21. Niggas couldn't wait to get a rebound and try to Iverson a nigga. Nigga, everybody trying it. No, nigga, you carry. I didn't carry. Nigga, you palming the ball. No, Iverson did it. That's palming. Niggas ready to fight over carry palm. I'm taking y'all back to niggas. I was hooping in 96, man, in high school. You can't, nigga, and I got a good memory. A lot of you niggas that be talking shit, most you can talk about is playing NBA 2K. And so Iverson could have taken it, and Kobe too, because Kobe had his fans. Shaq had personality. That next generation was there. Vince Carter and his jumping ability. But the NBA set forth a plan to push Michael Jordan. Because they cannot allow multiple black people to be great. And that's how white supremacy works. Even when we're great and the greatness is right in front of your fucking eyes, we got to put some announcers on there, some niggas and on these TV shows. We got to put Kendrick Perkins, Stephen A. Smith, Jason Whitlock, Skip Bayless, Colin Cowherd. We got to put these people out here to say you're not seeing what you're seeing. We got to put Mike Breen in his booth. And I'm watching the game tonight. They talking about LeBron stats. But in the last 4 minutes of the game, when the game was tight, yeah, LeBron had his stats, but this nigga Anthony Edwards looked that nigga down and nigga scored 13 points in a row, and LeBron didn't do shit but pass the ball and tell some nigga named Roy Hashimura to shoot it. Nigga, you LeBron James, you already got 32 points. Who the fuck gonna stop you from getting 45? Yo weak ass mind. But the whole time, Mike Breen ain't gonna point that out to you. And they know that most of you niggas don't know what you watching. You niggas don't know the difference between a brush screen and a smoke screen and a pin down. If I asked, for all these bronzosexuals in there, if I ask you guys where's the short corner, I'm sure 99% of y'all wouldn't know without having to Google where's the short corner. Don't know the difference between the elbow and the mid box. So, but that's what they're gonna do. They gotta Judas goat us. And yes, I'm gonna bring it back to LeBron James because I know a lot of you niggas got a soft spot for him, and I gotta poke at that soft spot to remind you niggas to snap into reality. Snap into it. They put these niggas in front of you, so when George Floyd riots are happening and black people are on cold, they put these niggas in front of you to say, yeah, I think we got to get back to playing basketball. And everybody say, okay. He's him, Jay-Z. I'm not just saying what I'm saying to hate you emotional niggas. I'm very calculated in what I say and who I point out. I'm extremely calculated when I bring up Jay-Z, Drake, President Obama, LeBron James, Beyonce, Oprah, Tyler Perry. These are people, all of them niggas on radio, all of them on Omega Sci-Fi. No disrespect to Omega Sci-Fi, but y'all gotta eat that. Ricky Smiley, Steve Harvey. We see the shit that they put out. Steve Harvey wasn't the funniest, but so why is he the one on radio? So yeah, I don't care how you emotional niggas feel when I bring up LeBron James's name. I want to keep bringing up these fucking names so you know who the fucking players are. These are the players we're watching a play, man. But this play dictates your emotions. It dictates your perception of things, of reality. This play dictates the population's perception of reality. We all can choose our own perception, but people are tuned into the perception that's given to them through the television and through music, through radio, through TV. They're going to have actors in place that when it's time to pull that card and they need something to further their agenda, here's this sacrificial Negro that's going to do it for you. Jay, and all I got to say, I don't have to, all I got to say, listen to my work. Jay-Z said we're done kneeling, and what happened? Let's just talk turkey. Jay-Z said we're done kneeling, and though niggas complained, what happened? The NFL wrote "end racism" in the end zone, and you niggas went back to watching. Again, there's a why to everything that we do, or not everything. Everything that I do. I'm not just talking to talk. When the pandemic happened, go back to what Patrick Beverly said on I think it was All the Smoke. Patrick Beverly said, and it wasn't just Patrick Beverly, but he's the most recent one that said it. The whole NBA was waiting on what LeBron wanted. The NBA was ready to boycott. All of the different Jaylen Brown. Remember when the bubble championship happened? A lot of players didn't come back. A lot of players didn't come back. What's his name? Avery Bradley. He was, remember how whatever happened to Avery Bradley? He was real popular with the Celtics, came with the Lakers. He chose not to come back after that and not come back after that George Floyd situation. They let that nigga finish out his contract and they kicked him out the NBA. They act like Jaylen Brown don't exist. Going back to perception, now how they got to control perceptions. They let Luka become the quote unquote best player in the a wing player of top five player when he's nothing but a dumbed down version of James Harden that plays absolutely worse defense. Don't play no defense. They allow Jokic to be a 3-time MVP and he doesn't play defense. When, if you notice, the only MVPs that don't have to play defense are white. Jokic, since when is it advantageous to have a center that doesn't play defense? The reason why Denver be losing is because of defense. You can have all the triple doubles you want, but if you have no rim protection, what good is a triple double? What good is me scoring 30 and getting 10 assists if I gave up 45 and that nigga got 32 and that nigga got 23? Basketball isn't a game of stats. Basketball isn't first to 200. Basketball is I need to score one more point than you. But they'll get you talking Joker. They can sell Joker on you, but they can't sell Jaylen Brown. Think about that. They can sell Luka, but you can't sell Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown, NASA, worked with NASA, JPL, negotiated his own contract, leader of the Players Union, Finals MVP. Jaylen Brown was a Finals MVP and could not make the fucking Olympic team. They let Jaylen Brown's teammate that comes off the bench for him with a receding hairline get on the Olympic team before Jaylen Brown. You niggas don't think we watching the play? Kobe got robbed of MVP, yeah. Think about that. Jaylen Brown couldn't make the Olympic team over the person that comes off the bench for Jaylen Brown made the Olympic team over Jaylen Brown. And they elevate Steve Nash. Steve Nash isn't even a top. They look, see, the record books are gonna say Steve Nash is better than Tony Parker. But Tony Parker was much better than Steve Nash. I remember I asked Baron Davis that one day when I saw him. I said, who better, Tony Parker or Steve Nash? He's like, nigga, Tony Parker, what? If you know basketball, you know Tony Parker's a better. Steve Nash, when it came time to win, he had some really good teams in Phoenix and he couldn't win. And the major reason why was because when it came down to it, he was ass on defense. And you can get a bucket on whoever the fuck he was going. Whoever Steve Nash was guarding, that's who you go to get your game-winning shot. And that's what happened. That's what happened with Steve Nash. Gary Payton, they don't even talk to Gary. Gary Payton was a better point guard than Steve Nash and Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd would lock your motherfucking ass down. You good, Rocky? Say what's up to the people, Rocky. You good, Rocky? You gonna say what's up to the people, Rocky? You gonna say what's up? Rocky like, man, fuck y'all. Rocky like, man, fuck y'all. Keep rubbing my chest. But you see how it works? Hell no, Steve Nash is not as good. Prime Terrell Brandon, hell no. And look at this. Steve Nash played at the same time as Terrell Brandon. Steve Nash's first 7 years was a wash. Even though he was an all-star in Dallas, this is where I say that. That Dallas Mavericks team that he had in 03, Michael Finley, prime Dirk Nowitzki. You got Rafe LaFrentz, Sean Bradley in the center. You had Josh Howard. You had that Dallas squad went like 9, 10 deep. And he was out of there in the second, third round. Fuck out of here. People forget when Phoenix played against the Lakers in the 2000 playoffs, that's Steve Nash was coming off the bench for Jason Kidd. And in that year, Phoenix re-signed Kevin Johnson. They brought Kevin Johnson out of retirement because Phoenix wasn't sure that Steve Nash could handle the load. Go look that up. They brought Kevin Johnson and Steve Nash and Kobe Bryant were drafted in the same draft. The same draft Kobe Bryant's winning his first the same year Kobe Bryant's winning his first NBA championship. The Phoenix Suns re-signed Kevin Johnson for assurance behind Jason Kidd because Steve Nash wasn't ready. And Steve Nash had 4 years of college and and Kobe Bryant came just out of high school. That's how far the gap between Kobe and Steve Nash was. What they did was they put Steve Nash in that Nelly ball offense. And anybody who knows basketball knows that Nelly ball was the precursor to the D'Antoni system, which is the precursor to this shit that we see, this open offense that we see right now. This open offense that we see right now in the NBA started with Nelly ball. Nelly ball, Don Nelson, NBA coach. And he got that really going with Run TMC with the Golden State Warriors back in the late 80s, early 90s. Mitch Richmond, Tim Hardaway, Chris Mullin. Don Nelson got going, and he was also the coach of the Warriors when they had that I Believe year. We Believe year. As a matter of fact, y'all want to know how basketball, it's funny, Rob, I'm sitting in this. Y'all see this towel? Y'all know where I got this towel? See, niggas don't be knowing how basketball I am. Y'all be knowing the music shit. Y'all see this towel? What year was this towel? What year was this Warriors towel? This was the We Believe year, nigga. I went up there to a playoff game. I got this after a game of the We Believe season. Nigga, that's exactly where this towel came from. After the game, I went to the back, and I went to the tunnel. I knew somebody that played on the squad. Sometimes you gotta remind niggas, you know, they see this nigga that ain't hooped in 15 years and be like, oh, what do you know about basketball? I forgot more than you know, I promise you. But you see what it is with sports, going back to the original topic of the thing. The white boys, when they're able to play half the game pretty decently, because offense is only half of the game. Jokic, Luka, Nash, they all get to be great. They didn't even look. They didn't even bring up the fact that Jokic got Porzingis chased away out of during that finals last year. They never brought up the fact that Boston won that because of Porzingis. And the reason why Porzingis was in Boston was because of the ethnic challenges he had with Luka in Dallas. They wanted Luka and Porzingis to be together, to play together, but Luka and Porzingis, they got some ethnic European differences, and they couldn't get along. And Luka's horrible leadership sent Porzingis away to Boston, giving Boston the exact piece they needed to beat Dallas in the finals last year. And they didn't even bring that up. Can you imagine if it was two black players that couldn't get along and that happened? Think about that. Can you imagine if it was two black players that couldn't get along over gang differences or over some kind of differences. One gets the other shipped away. How many times would Mike Brink have brought that up? Am I bullshitting, chat? So that's what we're talking about here. That's how white supremacy works. Going back to Shedeur. Shedeur has a very confident father that's very well loved, received, and respected. Shedeur rolls around in his Rolls Royce. He flashes just like his dad. White supremacy says, we got to teach this nigga a lesson. What's happening from my perspective is this is a humiliation ritual. You got to publicly flog and you got to publicly humiliate the non-chosen flashy Negro. If you're the chosen Negro, you can do a little bit. But if you ain't the chosen Negro, and it's only going to be one of you niggas, and right now the chosen Negro is Patrick Mahomes, because he talks like a fucking NASCAR driver and has the ideology of his mother. So he's our nigga. It's only room for one. They don't even want to give them, again, and I don't watch football close, but Lamar Jackson, every time I have seen him, he dope as hell. They don't want him. They swear they can say not to not give him MVP. So it's only one Negro at a time, especially at that quarterback. Because first off, the NFL don't even want you niggas playing quarterback. But after Tim Tebow, they just couldn't hide it anymore, how much they value the running quarterback. Because I remember even back when I was a kid and I used to watch, the announcers used to, when Steve Young or Brett Favre or John Elway scrambled and ran, oh, look at how great and gritty they were. When Randall Cunningham, and there's only two nigga quarterbacks, Randall Cunningham and Warren Moon. Warren Moon didn't really run, but when Randall Cunningham ran, he's going to have to find a way to stay in the pocket. When Steve Young will run, look at how courageous he is. And nigga, I was 13 noticing this shit. And I was not raised in a militant household. My parents are very much so by the book. My parents aren't like this. These were my observation. You know, no, they don't think the way I think. I'm the divergent one in my family. The rest of my family don't think like me. So it's not like I'm sad to say I wasn't in like some militant household to where I had parents saying, "Hey, look." But as hard as my dad worked, shit, my dad. I'm so blessed to have a father that I grew up with that I got to see him. He went to work every day. I very rarely saw my dad miss work. You see my dad right there, my mom. You see my dad, my mom, me, my sister, and my brother. Shit, my parents didn't wasn't what that was. These were, you know what my dad was doing? Nigga, listening to Smokey Robinson. That's what my dad was doing. Listening to Smokey Robinson, puffing on his weed, and not being bothered. But my pops used to play this song all the time, man. This song, anything Smokey reminded me of my dad. But anyway, uh, your name is Rhonda Land, huh? But they they That's how the system. I was noticing this as a kid. I wouldn't notice this as a kid. And when I was in college, Mike Vick, we gotta make Mike. Man, what if Mike Vick played today? Mike Vick was like the most explosive player in college. And I remember when he went to the Atlanta Falcons, they were like, we're gonna run this ground and pound, this vertical offense. Like, why don't you put Mike Vick in a West Coast offense and let him run? Why wouldn't you hire a West Coast offense quarterback for Mike Vick? Y'all ended up hiring a quarterback that had him playing that down and out shit. And they did everything they could to keep him in the pocket. And then Mike Vick ended up going to jail for a crime no one knew was a crime. And then when Mike Vick came back with the Philadelphia Eagles, they made sure they gave him the shittiest offensive line possible. Y'all remember that? When Mike Vick came back? Man, this nigga Mike Vick, you had niggas hopping across the line before the ball was snapped. They wasn't calling offsides. It was like, hold on, I thought y'all had all these new rules to protect the quarterback. Shit, not Mike Vick with the Eagles. Man, they made that nigga go to Leavenworth. And that goes to the point to people out there who like to say it's about class, it's about money, not about race. Better fucking believe it's about race. It's not always about the money. They could have made a lot more money allowing Mike Vick to be Mike Vick. Just like the NBA could have made a lot more money allowing Allen Iverson to be Allen Iverson. But when you have in 2000, you got white kid, Mike Vick got cornrows now. You got white kids with Allen Iverson and Mike Vick cornrows. When Mike Vick and Allen Iverson, they started to really, come around that same time. Well, Allen Iverson was before Mike Vick, but now you got Mike Vick here. He got cornrows too, like Iverson. The NBA needed. That's when the NBA said, okay, we got to have a dress policy because these white fathers who spend money with the NBA, they're feeling a little bit insecure. You got to understand that white supremacy is a little dick issue. These are little dick white dudes who they dicks shrivel up when we come through and we put some bass in our voice. When black folks put some bass in our voice and we let our dick swing, they dicks shrivel up. So David Stern and the NFL, they got to navigate this very delicate balance. They got to navigate. How do I not let these white men's dicks shrivel up so they can keep spending money with me and stay in control of these niggas while still using these niggas to promote my league? And then it comes down to the good cop, bad cop, the good versus evil. The Dark Knight sells just as many movie tickets as the good Batman, right? The Riddler, the Joker, the devil, the Jesus needs the devil. The devil, that's all the drama. You need high and low. You need good and bad. You need fire and ice. You can sell just as many units hating as you can loving. So let's make sure whatever hate we have, they made Kobe the villain. When Kobe went up in that white girl, he became the forever villain. That's when they moved their attention to LeBron and made it a light versus dark argument, Kobe versus LeBron. Then they killed Kobe. Then now they act like the nigga didn't exist. Now let's make Jordan dark and Kobe and LeBron light. Either way it goes, I'll get you to pay attention. You see how that works? So that's how they do it. So they gotta walk that delicate line. So going back to Shedeur. Shedeur is the Allen Iverson, but he's not Allen Iverson because they could have called they call Allen Iverson a thug, whatever. They can't do that with Shedeur. Shedeur is like his dad, a sleek, flashy Negro who, if they wanted to, they could make sure he's drafted in the right situation, put the right team and coach around and coach around Shedeur and really promote him and elevate him, and like they did Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, the people that we want to elevate. Let's put them in the right environment and let's showcase their talent and give it an honest chance. But then white supremacy says you cannot have too many black people that people love, especially these flashy Negroes. For white supremacy to continue to work, they have to make these little dick white dudes feel comfortable. It's all about making little dick white dudes feel comfortable for having a little dick. But now the little dick white population is dying out. When I say white, that also includes Latinos and everybody else because they identify as white. And when it deals with these all racial groups have issues with black male penis. They all got little dick syndrome when it comes to us, all of them. Part of the reason why when I did stand-up comedy, part of the reason why I stopped going to open mics was because you couldn't go to a mic without hearing some little dick ass bastard. Everybody non-white and non-black has a joke about black cock, as they say. Everybody has a black cock joke. I encourage you to go to your local comedy club in whatever city you're in. I promise y'all, as God is my witness, whatever city you're in, go to a stand-up comedy show on a white night when there's no black comics, when it's just white comics. I promise you, this will work anywhere. If they have 5 white comics up, 4 or all 5 are going to have at least one joke to where they reference black cock. I promise you, penis envy is real. Hell, one of my favorite mushroom strands is called penis envy. Man, if you ever get them penis, well, I'm not gonna recommend though. But ooh, them shrooms, the penis envy shrooms, they got like a little gold tip and a short white, a thin white stem. Them motherfuckers will have you blasted off like a motherfucker. But I'm not a doctor. You good, Rocky? But they suffer from the world. Go to a comedy club. Read the ice papers. The world is infatuated with black male penis. We be over here, black niggas be over here trying to get fresh, so we ain't looking like, so we don't get clowned going out the house by another nigga. We like, man, I don't want this dude talking about my scuffed up. You better not have no fucking Air Force Ones or creases in them if you decide to wear Air Force Ones. We be in our own world thinking about other black people like, man, and the rest of the world looking at us. Look at that nigger. Oh God, my girlfriend. Adam 22 shit. You dig? So we got to understand all of this works together, black people. I know, I'm not teaching y'all nothing new. Y'all know this. All I'm doing is I'm bringing a perspective so that we understand that all of this plays together. That's what I'm saying. All of this plays together. All of this plays together. So when you get a Shedeur Sanders, somebody who stands out like that, you have to publicly flog him, especially when he has a strong black father that's there too. This nigga needs to be made an example of. We cannot approve of this behavior. You mean to tell me this kid's not a criminal? People like him. He makes money and is made honestly. His father's in his life and loves him, and the people love him. And on top of that, he has the respect of his peers and his age group, his peer group. You have to publicly flog him. That is unacceptable in a system of white supremacy. And that goes back to the other topic we talked about, is this racism, white supremacy. If you do not understand racism, white supremacy, how it is and how it operates, everything else you think you understand will only confuse you. You got to understand how white supremacy works. It is a system. And perception goes a long way, is everything when it comes to maintaining a system. You have to keep everyone's perceptions of everyone's groups in line. You got to keep black people on the bottom. It's not personal. In order for this white supremacist system to work, because for them dummies that say it's not about race, it's about money, yes, it's about money. But how do you maintain the money stratification process? Through race. Don't ever listen to nobody say it's not about race. It's about money. It's not about race. No, they work together. It's yin and yang. They will sacrifice money to maintain a racial stratification. Through maintaining that racial stratification, they can maintain their money advantage. I will give up $100,000 to make sure I keep my 10 million. That's what they're doing. Yeah, we could probably, the NFL could probably make, if just say if the NFL, I'm throwing the number there, if the NFL was is making $100 billion a year. Say the NFL is making $100 billion a year. If I draft Shedeur and put it out there, because black people and people like him are so box office, we probably could go from making, and yeah, we're going to offend these little dick people, but even though they're offended, they're still going to watch because they're in tune and as natural as a human to love greatness, no matter how inferior you may feel to it. So I could, instead of making 100 billion, we could make 200 billion by letting it go. We could make double the money. But if I make double the money, that means that's more I got to pay them. And if I maintain this, allowing these Negroes to be free and to be clean without constantly bringing up criminal activity, they're thinking, okay, what if this lasts for 25 years, 30 years, 50 years? If 50 years of positive of allowing positive black people to be the face of what I do, am I going to be able to maintain the system of dominance 50 years from now? The answer is probably no, because if the people start to change their perception of these groups of people, then I'm not going to be able to, I may make more money this year, I'll make more money next year, but I want to make money for my children's children. And that's how the system of white supremacy works. That's why you can't say it's not about race. It is definitely about race, because they use race to maintain the long money. And sometimes they'll allow the black person to be put out front, but not too many. And the nigga I do put out front is going to be vetted, and he's going to do what the fuck I tell him to do. So when I go to LeBron James and say, hey, these riots in 2020, these COVID riots are too much. We need a distraction. Tell them niggas that we're going to play basketball. And he said, okay, I do it. And then he said, then you niggas like, yeah, let's go. Just yesterday, you was ready to dismantle this whole system that oppresses you. For June 2020, black people, young and old, are ready to dismantle this system. July 2020, they said we're going to get this season going. Niggas went to let's go Lakers, let's go Warriors, let's go Rockets or whatever. It's a both and situation. It is a both and situation. Make sure you get your intellectual power right now at intellectualpower.net. Type in the product code D Brown for 10% off. Also, there's a free event next Saturday and Sunday here in Compton. Need y'all to get your tickets for it right now. RSVP. Link is in the description. For those of you who want to know more about what happened with the Wumpty Wham shots, there will be an open forum discussion on that where you can ask the doctors next Friday here in Compton, California, and Saturday. Both links are in my description box. So that's what it is. That's how it's white supremacy. I don't want to tell you it's white supremacy and just be like, believe me. No, that's how white supremacy works. When a nigga gets out of line and he's not humble and he don't have his tail tucked between his legs, you got to make an example out of him. Black people are supposed to have our tails tucked between our legs, and when we don't, we got to pay the price. What's up, Star? What's up, everybody in the chat? Y'all see how it works? Race is used to keep the social stratification system on. But I'm about to get up out of here, y'all. Rocky over here. Rocky, you know you gotta take one more walk tonight so you can get that shit out. That way his ass passing gas. I know you need this shit pretty soon, boy. This nigga knocked out. You hear Rocky snoring? That nigga Rocky knocked out. Oh yeah, and they making them yeah, what they doing? They said tomorrow they're gonna be draft tomorrow. They making y'all watch. They making money off this shit too. Making niggas watch more and more rounds of the draft to see when he gets taken. And like, let's humble this nigga. Humbling black folks is very, 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 very important. Because look at what's happening. Pay attention to what's happening. They're humbling him, and what do you see a lot of black people saying? See, if he just do his job, you see how it works? The system exists because it works. How many black people today did you see? Well, if he just shut up and do his job, and Dion do talk too much, and it's because Dion is in the way. This nigga Dion about to be coaching his own fucking football team during the season. He ain't gonna have time to be at his son's all up in his son's business like that. You good, Rocky? Shit, my wife on the way home. But y'all get it though. I'm about to get up out of here, y'all. But y'all see what it is, man. Understand racism, white supremacy, and how it works. They got to keep a certain perception of us alive. The only way this system is going to work. And when you have a Shedeur, when you have a Dion, when you got black people who are happy, who take care of their children, love their father, mother, white supremacy ways, the system works. This system goes hard on those images because it cannot afford for everyone else, the rest of the world, to see the humanity of these Negroes they tell the world to hate so much. The white supremacy cannot afford for black people, especially black men, to be humanized. The system cannot afford for us to be humanized. Because once a generation changes perception of a group of people, they're going to start asking questions. All right? I will smoke with y'all, but my wife on the way home, she's kicking it with her father, Mr. James Carmichael. I know she got some funny stories for me when I wanted to go see him today, but I had to work. I had work to do with my company today, so I couldn't go see Mr. Carmichael. My wife on the way home from seeing him, running my Palo Santo. But at the end of the day, look, I don't give a fuck. Let these NFL people do what they want to do. They look. NFL's doing what it does, what it's supposed to do. The NFL told you niggas how it feels about you. You still decide to watch, so deal with it, Let them get their public humiliation ritual on. Y'all told them that y'all cool with it, however they operate, when you still watched in spite of what they did to y'all. The NFL punked black folks. They said, nah, we ain't gonna change you. You gonna come back and watch anyway. All we gotta do is let these niggas start dancing in the end zone and tell Jay-Z to come tell these niggas that we done kneeling. And you fell for it. So kneel your ass down. You done kneeling. So why are you kneeling about this situation? Yeah. Yeah, they need to humble us. They need to humble LeVar Ball. Yeah. I think I told y'all before, but I have told y'all before, I'm not, and please don't take this and run with it, because I don't kick it with none of them niggas. Lonzo, LeVar, none of them. They all, but yeah, that's my sister. The Ball family. LeVar is my in-law. That's like, LeVar Ball is like my brother-in-law. Do y'all know that? Oh yeah, you hear Tower Power? Yeah, LeVar is my brother-in-law. But we don't, they do their thing over there. That's my sister. My sister's husband is the oldest Ball brother. Can y'all see my sister? Oh, y'all can't barely see. Oh shit, I'm fucking shit up back there. I'm gonna sit and show it. Y'all see my sister right there? Yeah, her husband is the oldest Ball brother. But I don't have no contact with them. I don't have no inside information. None of that shit. But that is family through marriage. That is family through marriage. Salute from Australia. Let me, shit, my wife on the way home. I'm about to close this window. I be having this shit cold. Women, y'all don't like cold. Y'all don't like it when it's cold. My wife come home and she be like, "You got like a fucking cave in here." I be like, "Yep." I like my shit cool. Hold on, let me close these windows so when she comes home, it ain't cold as fuck. But nah, but like, yeah, they publicly flogged LeVar. They publicly flogged him, and they're publicly flogging Shedeur and Dion right now. This is to let the insecure white boys know that, hey, yeah, we can't stop this nigger from being brash. We can't stop this nigger from being arrogant, but we can humble this nigger. That's all it is. Shedeur's still going to go to the NFL. He's going to be fine. And Negroes are going to be arguing. See, that's if he just pull his pants up. Hey, everybody, all you niggas gonna say pull your pants up. I ain't never seen Shedeur sagging. You did? Yeah, so that's all it is. But I'll probably be with y'all tomorrow. I wasn't gonna go live today, but when I saw all this shit going on today, I had to watch. I had to come talk about it. But I appreciate y'all. Go to Intellectual Power, get your Black American Music Family Tree, and all that good shit, all right? Thank y'all for listening. Remember, there are no perfect messengers, only perfect messages for those willing to pick up the game. Understand how the system maintains itself so you're not confused, all right? All right, y'all, I'm out.